Sweet.
All right, we're going to do our quarterback rankings for NFL before the season starts. Still some time here before the season starts, a good 2.5, 3 months or so. So hopefully once a week we do a position group and we should be able to kind of line it up perfectly. So I'm going to go first. And I think best quarterback this year is probably the Chiefs room, and that's Patrick Mahomes, Chad Henne, Shane Buechele, and Dustin Crum.
Yeah, I don't really have an argument. I mean, you could go back and forth maybe with a few other teams if you think somebody's better than Mahomes, but Henne's still a pretty solid backup too.
Anything is possible, man. Yeah.
But Mahomes is number one still. I mean, there was a time early in the year last year where you thought maybe some guys, he'd been figured out by a little bit, but
well, and we might see a little more fluke out of him with Tyreek Hill gone.
Yeah, it's possible, but I think he's still the guy. So
still a nuts on him. Yeah.
Yeah, I will put him number one. That makes sense for me. Number two is a little harder. I'm still putting the GOAT number 2 here. So I'm going to go Tom Brady.
Oh, I thought that was Jeff Driscoll.
What?
I thought that Jeff Driscoll was the GOAT.
Oh, sorry. I'm putting the GOAT number 39 then. We'll go Tom Brady, Blaine Gabbert, Kyle Trask, Ryan Griffin. We'll go Buccaneers. Until Brady proves that Father Time is actually doing something to him, then
he's inhuman. He's not human.
No, he's an alien. Mm-hmm. Then I think he needs to be up there in the top 3 or 4 at least. So
I thought about that. I had him at 3, but I thought about that. I'm like, God, he hasn't stopped playing amazing. So why are we?
No, I mean, there's nothing. I mean, everybody's arguing. Everybody makes. This is the year he falls apart.
I remember I did my 2019 rankings, and I had him at 8 just because I'm like, he's gonna fall in 2019, and he still is going. So it's crazy. All right. Well, number 3, I'm gonna go with Packers, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love, and Danny Etling. Aaron Rodgers obviously doesn't seem as interested in football as much lately, and losing Devontae Adams could hurt him. But maybe the variety also helps. I mean, we saw Stafford even now after he lost Calvin Johnson, still very good with just more variety. So we'll see if that helps Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is an incredible quarterback, just not an ideal quarterback in a playoff situation. So.
No, struggles in some big games, but I mean, 37 touchdowns, 4 interceptions last year. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So, can't really argue there. I will go with, I think we've gotten all the golf buddies now. I'm going to go with Josh Allen here.
There it is.
The Buffalo Bills here. Josh Allen, Case Keenum, solid backup. I like him as a backup, and Matt Barkley, don't like him. Yeah, I mean, from pure talent standpoint, he's right up there with Mahomes, arm talent. Plus, he's a great runner, nearly 1,200 yards on the ground over the past 2 years and 14 touchdowns. So that's pretty good. He's a train. He's a truck when he's running. He did just sign for a ton of money. So we'll see if that has anything to do with his play. But I think he's just going to keep getting better. So
to me, these 4 were unanimous to me, in my opinion. Going to 5, like, it could be all over the wall. I've seen quarterback rankings all over the place after this. And so I don't know what I want to do. My 5 is, I'm just going to stick with the 5 I have, but like, I've changed my mind countless times in this. I'm going to go with Russell Wilson from the Broncos, Brett Rippon, and Josh Johnson. Now, Russell Wilson it seems like he starts the season incredible every single year, and then he just like levels out.
Okay.
He's not like piss poor ever, but like
it seems like he's going to be an MVP, like shoe in almost.
The first 8 games, and they hit the bye week, and it's like you forgot how to play on your bye week. All right.
Right. Yeah. Well, they figure some things out. Okay. I will go with I'll go with the Ravens next. Just because I'll go Lamar Jackson. I like Tyler Huntley, actually. I think he's a decent backup. Brett Hundley and Anthony Brown. These are one of the few teams that actually draft and develop quarterbacks that are similar to their starter. I mean, they're taking running quarterbacks as their backups, which is pretty smart. I mean, people will talk about Lamar Jackson and his throwing numbers. I think he could be a better passing quarterback if that was what they were they were running that type of offense, but this offense fits him perfectly. He'll still put up some big numbers. We'll see if, the question is, does he ever get hurt by running around?
And he has no receivers. He really has
literally no receivers.
The worst receiving group, and it's not even close.
So, but yeah, and he's still putting up some crazy numbers. A lot of it is on the ground, but yeah, I think I'll put them there.
All right. So before we're getting pretty close to some dicey territory, and I have questions I need to confirm with you first. What are we assuming the quarterback is for the Browns?
At this point, I think it's Baker.
But there's even
or I think it's Baker or somebody else, and I don't.
Jacoby Brissett. Maybe they just have to roll with Brissett.
Yeah, they might have to because we're here in a year for Deshaun at least.
Yeah, and
it could be one of the worst trades of all time here soon. It could be getting into one of that territory if it gets real bad for Deshaun. So,
So I just wanted to clarify because I have Deshaun in the next couple picks here, and
so if you have Deshaun Watson as a starter, yes, he's in the top 10. Yeah. But if he's not,
but I want to make sure that we're going off the same expected players. Like in the list that I sent you, I had Deshaun on that list first, and then Baker.
Yeah.
And I don't think either of those guys are going to be in the same team together. But
no.
I
think we assume
he's not.
Let's see what I have here.
Well, see, I had Deshaun. All right, 7.
Let's assume Deshaun starter until proven otherwise. Let's just do that way. Okay. Well, and we can have an episode where we talk about Deshaun Watson if we want.
I think there was an episode too after we had done a couple of things, like Cam Newton hadn't been signed yet. I'm like, does this make the Patriots better and stuff?
Yeah, so we can discuss the changes if some random things happen.
Yeah, and they probably will. It's almost inevitable over the last.
That will be the big one, and he probably isn't going to play this year. But let's just assume he'll play until it comes out. So
okay, all right, good in the clarification there.
Cool.
Then I'm going to make my next quarterback here. I'm going to go, sheesh. I've gone back and forth. I'm going to go with the Super Bowl winner, Matthew Stafford.
Yep. Good call.
I hate that because it feels like it's a homer pick, but I really think he's proved what quarterback he is now with an adequate team around him.
Yeah.
He's one of the best.
Yeah. He's top 10, top 8 quarterback, I think. And I think he still is when healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's got 3 or 4 really good years ahead of him. So, when healthy, I will go with. I'll go with the Bengals next.
Ooh,
I really liked what Joe Burrow came out with last year. Now they just got to protect him, obviously, and obviously, some could be said with how good his receiving core is, but 70%, over 70% of his passes last year, 34 touchdowns, 14 picks. He got better as the year went on and was improving. And I think he's only going to get better. I think he's a top 10 quarterback right now. Brandon Allen and Jake Browning are the backups. Yeah.
I still, it's the part of me that doesn't think Watson's playing. So I'm going to push him down one more. I'm going to go with Justin Herbert next.
I had Herbert next anyway. So yeah. I haven't seen Watson in a while, so you know what I mean.
We saw. Michael Vick was actually pretty good coming out of prison, but you never know how some of these guys are going to be.
He was very good coming out of prison. You're right. For a couple of years, he was really, really good.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So pick 10 here.
Yeah, pick 10, and all right, I'll go with Deshaun Watson here.
Okay.
I do like Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like an all loss. It doesn't feel like an all loss if you don't have Baker or Watson because Brissett's always been one of the best backups.
Yeah,
he's always been one of the best backups. Yeah,
you can live with it, right? If Watson plays, he's incredible.
Yeah,
and
Josh Dobbs is a backup for Brissett if it gets to that situation.
Yeah, that's not good. That's going down to that's 32.
32 right now.
That's 32.
Oh man.
So yeah, technically Baker's still on the team. So we'll see what happens here. But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with Deshaun. So obviously that's a fluid one. That's subject to move all the way back down to the bottom if some things happen here. So, but if he plays, then I think top 10. You could argue top 5 even quarterback. So
yeah. Let me go with the Dallas Cowboys for 11. Dak Prescott, Cooper Rush, Will Grier, and Ben DiNucci.
Is he still on the team? Wow.
Still, last I checked when I did this last
week. I think he is. Yeah, you're right. Okay. All right. I will go with the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yep,
now.
that's the right pick. That's the right
I went back and forth Kyler Murray, but I think Kyler Murray is soft. So I will go with Derek Carr, Jarrett Stidham, Nick Mullins, Chase Garbers.
Mm-hmm.
I like Nick Mullins a little bit as backup.
Yeah.
So, when
Derek he's Carr, proven he belongs. He's proven he belongs as a backup.
No doubt. And I think Derek Carr is very good. I think he's actually underrated at times.
Now with Devontae Adams, he's got a real tool out there with Darren Waller. I think that's they're going to have threats out there.
Definitely. And I think they're going to put up some big numbers. So
I think
I'm excited to see the Raiders this year.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. Kyler Murray has gone soft. So I actually moved him down a couple notches. And I'm going to take Kirk Cousins next. Kirk Cousins isn't the least soft person in the world either, but I think Cousins gets a lot of hate. And maybe sometimes rightfully so, but he's right there to me with Kyler Murray. I'd Kyler Murray next, but
he gets a lot of hate for being a very, very, very decent quarterback.
Especially last year, his numbers, his ratio and everything was like really solid, and people were just
very bad. He can't play in like Sunday night games. So he's very bad when like all the eyes are on him. He's just been not good. Yeah. So that's really been his problem.
Yeah, if no one tunes in, if there's a blackout game, he'll throw 450 yards and 5 touchdowns. But
if there's Sunday night game, he's going to throw 4 picks, and you're like, okay, all right. So, okay, I'll go Kyler next. I mean, the talent's still there.
And Colt McCoy and Trace McSorley.
Yeah, and Jarrett Guarantano, the guy from Tennessee. He was bad at Tennessee too. But now. He's ramping up the pressure on the Cardinals, and he's kind of being a weenie about the whole thing. I'm not sure I like the guy. Maybe he should just play baseball. But no, he's still a top 15 quarterback in the NFL.
I really wish he would go to baseball now. Good grief. He is a weenie. He's driving me bonkers lately.
Yeah, he's just dumb.
I'm not even in the Cardinals front office, and I'm like, just go.
Yeah, and he's I love the when the Chargers were making fun of him. On that was the most incredible. We could have a whole episode breaking that down. That was literally the most incredible schedule reveal I've ever seen in my entire life.
Dude,
I laughed at that for like 2 weeks.
The Chargers guy a raise for sure.
Like that intern that decided to do that should
promote him to a front office executive.
Yeah, get him in some $1 million deal here. Like that was genius.
12-year contract, $1 million. Yeah, I get him in.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah. All right, 15. Let me go. Okay. I feel like the top half always used to be a little better than this, but I am not high on this guy at all. And everyone knows I dog on him more than anyone else in the podcast. Ryan Tannehill, I'll put at 15.
Yeah, but he's not there to be a mentor to Malik Willis.
He's not. But Malik Willis, I think, is going to be a lot better than I think he's time.
Down the road, probably.
Yeah.
All right, I will go with the Eagles next. Jalen Hurts, Gardner Minshew. I like Gardner Minshew still. Reed Stinnett, and then Carson Strong is like a kind of a flyer. You never know what he could develop.
I suppose he was a first-round projection for some.
Yeah, I know. But I thought Hurts actually had a pretty okay second year.
He surprised a lot of people last year. I had him next.
And they were a lot better as a team than I thought they'd be too. So I like. I think he's actually going to get better. I don't think he's going to end up being like a top 10 NFL quarterback, but I think he can solidify himself as like a top half guy eventually. So, right now I've got him right at the top half. So
it's a good pick. Yeah. Man, I'm going to go with famous Jameis at 17, man. Saints. Jameis, then you get Andy Dalton, who I think is probably one of the best backups here in the league. Ian Book even played a little bit last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I want to see Jameis. He played really well his first couple games last year, and then he got hurt, and so I just want to see a healthy.
I want to see him fully healthy. I don't want to see his workout videos. His workout videos are legendary.
Yeah, he's got clean eyeballs now. So it's like, what's the problem?
You can see. Yeah. So, okay. I'll go with the Patriots here next.
Is that or another team? I think next or another team.
Yeah, I think Mac Jones is a very solid quarterback, and I think he'll continue to get better too. He honestly did exactly what I thought he would do with the Patriots last year. That's exactly what I expect. If they had success, that's what I expected him to be. A very solid quarterback. Didn't do anything to kill you.
Which is surprising for a rookie quarterback not to make dumb decisions. Trevor
Lawrence clearly the best rookie quarterback. I think even close. So now does he have the highest ceiling?
A class with like Trevor Lawrence, who is considered to be the best one since Andrew Luck out of college.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, does he have the highest ceiling? No. But yeah, I think that Matt Jones proved enough. Then Brian Hoyer, who's been a backup quarterback for a million years, and then they took a flyer on Bailey Zappa, who I liked watching in college. We'll see.
Put up ridiculous numbers at Western Kentucky.
Yep. So
yeah, it's a good one. 19. I'm going to go with the Colts just because their backup's Nick Foles, Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a change of scenery might be good for him. So Ryan with Foles and Sam Ellinger, and then Jack Cohn. They drafted this year too.
I think Matt Ryan's pretty much done. I'll be honest, but I can agree.
He might have a decent year, but that's it. It's going to be like Phillip Rivers level. It's going to be okay.
Yeah, I would agree. Okay, I'll go with the Commanders here next. We'll go Carson Wentz, Taylor Heineke, and Sam Howell. I don't hate any of those QBs. I'll be completely honest.
It's like you're reading my list. I'm not gonna lie, almost identical picks to my list. It's really
I mean, Sam Howell. I mean, at one point was considered a top 5 pick. Really early in some draft boards.
Yeah, so was Brad Kaya.
That's true. But Taylor Heineke has had some success in the NFL as a backup and as a starter. And then Carson Wentz. I mean, again, maybe a change of scenery will be really good for him. He tore up his knee. Never really has been the same. At one point, 2017, he was considered an MVP candidate. So I think the talent is still there. Sometimes he does really dumb things with the football. So, but I think he can still harness some of that talent, and maybe, the Commanders are the right fit. So I like them there.
Who are we assuming is the 49ers starting quarterback this year?
Trey Lance, I think. I think it's Trey Lance. But that's not a bad QB situation, though.
Right? I mean, but that does. Lance hasn't really to me. Lance hasn't played enough for me to like.
No, I'd move him down. I'd move him down further because it's Trey Lance. But I also they're one of those where you could sit there and go.
I was gonna say, because if it's Garoppolo, I probably have him up 5 or 6 spots higher even. So
right,
that's where it's like I don't know. Well, I have at 21 that I'm going to take the Lions, Jared Goff, Tim Boyle, and David Blau. Horrendous quarterback situation.
Probably the worst. Might be the worst.
Yeah, Jared Goff in the last 8 weeks of the season when Amon-Ra came up, Jameson Williams probably won't even play. He might start on the PUP, which means he's going to be out for the first 8 weeks. Yeah. And then, hopefully a healthy TJ helps. DJ Shark, they got options now. And I think the way that Goff played it towards the end, possibly a little bit of homer swaying this pick, but I don't really like a ton of these other quarterback options either. So I don't think Goff would fall much further than 2 more anyway. So I'm going to take him at 21.
Okay. I'm actually going to take the 49ers here at 22. I like the upside of Trey Lance. This is probably one of the harder teams to assess, though. Jimmy G is still on the roster, so you might have to assume he starts, possibly for now. Yeah. But I think they want to go in the Trey Lance direction. Trey Lance gives them a higher upside, obviously. But Jimmy G isn't a bad option here. So he's obviously he's gotten to a Super Bowl. It wasn't really him that got him there, but he's been a good starter and he's won a lot of games. But Trey Lance does give him that added element with his legs and is just overall way more talented. So not a bad situation necessarily to have, but it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. So,
yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to go with the Dolphins here then at 23, Tua Tagovailoa, Teddy Bridgewater, who's one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league too. And then they got Skylar Thompson as well in the draft. And I think, Tua now, it's going to be interesting. This is a prove it year though for him now, experience under the Dolphins regime. Obviously Brian Flores isn't there anymore, so maybe that might help clear his head a little bit. And then getting Tyreek Hill, they have an explosive offense now, probably the fastest offense the NFL has seen. It's like Oregon 2012 to the NFL level. So I'm going to take him here at 23.
All right. I'll go the Jags at 24. Trevor Lawrence, I think he should take a step up. You get rid of Urban Meyer, get out of that mess. You need to completely separate yourself from whatever the heck that was. I don't hate CJ Beathard, and then Jake Luton. I think I don't know. Lawrence, I think Lawrence will prove some doubters wrong this year a little bit, because I do think that he's a lot better than what he showed.
He still has an incredible ceiling. Yeah.
17 picks is not gonna, it's not gonna, shine through. Only 12 touchdowns, but a lot of that was the Urban Meyer stuff, I think, and it wasn't going to work. Doug Peterson has been really good with quarterbacks in the past. He was really good with Carson Wentz, and we've seen his struggles otherwise. Won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. Nick Foles putting up ridiculous numbers. So I think, I could see that being a pretty good marriage on offense there. I don't know if they're going to be any good. Actually, I think they're going to be terrible, but I think he's going to improve. So I'll put Trevor Lawrence here.
I'm going to go with one that could starting QB situations up in the air, and it's the Steelers.
Yeah,
Mitchell Trubisky with Kenny Pickett. Mason Rudolph obviously has been a backup for a while, and Chris Oladokun.
Those all look like backup QBs to me.
But I mean, Trubisky's he was good before he moved last year to the Bills.
Yeah.
He was a great backup, and whenever Allen was out, Trubisky did a good job. Pickett, obviously, the first quarterback drafted, and you want to think that comes with a ceiling, but small hands, man, that's what they say.
Yeah,
small hands. So it's going to be a quarterback battle, but it sounds like it's still Trubisky's job to at least start the season even.
Yep. I mean, Tomlin. I remember I listened to Mike Tomlin. He was on Rich Eisen not that long ago, and he was talking about like he just wants him to duke it out, and he's just going to play the best guy. Mm-hmm. So I think it will be Trubisky. He's just obviously got more experience, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Kenny Pickett in there a decent amount later in the year. So, What number are we at?
It'd be 26.
26. Okay. I'll go with the Bears here at 26. Justin Fields, Trevor Siemian, Nathan Peterman.
That just dropped it down at 32.
Yeah, maybe we were going down to the 30s. No, Justin Fields, I mean, he's talented. He's hard to figure out, though, just because of how weird the Bears have been. So I'll be interested to see. He's got a good chance to move up on this list, or they do have a good chance to move up on this list if he kind of really finds it, because he had some moments last year. But
they have no offensive line, so I feel like they.
I don't know if it's going to really improve, because I don't know if they're going to protect him.
They decided not to really address that. Granted, they didn't have a pick until like the third round, but
yeah, it was a completely horrendously ran organization up to this point. So he's not in a good situation right now. Now, if he has a really, really, really good year, that just tells you more about him, in my opinion, than it does necessarily the Bears. So, if he has another year like his first season, they're going to start to worry a little bit. So he's got to improve. But the problem is, like you said, like if no one's there to protect him, we've seen this happen to other quarterbacks who are really talented before. So, see.
At 27, I'm going to go with the clumsiest athletic white quarterback in the league, and that's Danny Dimes of the Giants. But Tyrod Taylor is a backup, and then Davis Webb also not that bad.
No,
I think that kind of moved them up a little bit, even when or at least broke the tie with like three other quarterbacks really at this spot.
Okay, I'll go with the Jets next. They probably moved up the list a little bit from last year. Zach Wilson, who, I mean, I don't know. He showed some flashes here and there, actually, that I was like, it wasn't that bad, right? Had some explosion. Joe Flacco was the backup, Mike White as well. Joe Flacco's won a Super Bowl. So, but, he didn't, Wilson, 56% of his passes, 9 touchdowns, and 11 picks. That's not good. It was actually horrendously bad. But I think the Jets overall, you got to look at it from a whole standpoint. If you threw Zach Wilson on a better team, he probably would have had better numbers anyway. So I'm not saying he's going to be good, but I think he can be a lot better. I hated that pick anyway when the Jets picked him. I didn't think he was going to be.
I was always pretty low on Zach Wilson, but I don't know.
What's that?
I was always pretty low on Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I thought he was, he's bound for his peak, in my opinion, is Mitch Trubisky. That's his peak, top. In my opinion.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be phased out as a starting quarterback by year 4.
Well, we're on our way. So
we'll see. This is another year where it's going to lead that direction. So
yep.
All right. So I've kind of gone back and forth on. I just think it's going to be I really still like Marcus Mariota, so I think I'm going to take the Falcons.
Okay.
Mariota with Desmond Ridder, and then Felipe Franks there as well. So I don't know. My memory is still of Marcus Mariota, even as a top backup quarterback for the Raiders last year, and then him with the Titans. He still had a factor where it was like, mobile. He's smart. He tries not to make dumb decisions. And so I think he might play carefully this year in his spot so he doesn't lose his job to Ridder, and at least try to make himself available for other teams.
I'm not that high on Ridder.
No,
personally either. I mean, we talked leading up to the draft and throughout the draft and everything. I didn't like any of the quarterbacks anyway, so it didn't really matter. But I think Ridder is average at best, so I'm not super.
I actually think Ridder will be a better quarterback long term in the NFL than Zach Wilson will. So that's
probably
where I stand on Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I mean Zach Wilson's butt. So
yes.
30
here. Pick 30.
I'll go with the Houston Texans here. Yep, Davis Mills was, I mean, I had honestly at one point had them higher on this list because Davis Mills was like,
that's who I went back and forth to the Falcons.
Much better than anybody thought he was going to be last year.
That's why it's like, do I want to buy it as a fluke still?
Right. But it's hard to buy it as a fluke because his team was horrible. So it's like maybe he was actually
situation with Coley going out and everything. There was a whole bunch of
Right. There's a bunch of weirdness going on. So I don't know, but I actually sort of like Davis Mills. I'm kind of interested to see what happens there. He might be able to kind of work himself into a long-term NFL career if he continues, to play well. Not necessarily as a starter, but starter on a bad team. Kyle Allen's backup. He's been around. Jeff Driscoll, GOAT.
Yep.
And then
Kevin Hogan's been around.
Kevin Hogan's been around for a while too. So, I think he was just dependable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they only won 2 of his 11 starts, but hey, I mean, that's not always on him. So I think it's solid.
So this is tough to go back and forth. 31 or 32, man. Seahawks or Panthers? You know what?
I think it's obvious, in my opinion, actually.
Do you?
Yeah.
I like Drew Lock and I hate Sam Darnold. So
yeah, but Geno, do you like Geno?
No, but do I like Coral yet? I do like PJ Walker. I'll go with the Panthers.
Yep.
Sam Darnold, Matt Corral, PJ Walker, Davis Cheek. I just, the Seahawks are in a bad state. Every week you hear about, they got to try to trade for Baker, or, maybe even Jimmy G or something. Like they got to put themselves in a situation here. But I don't know. I think the Seahawks are kind of just expecting a lousy year and just accepting it and seeing what's in the bag for quarterbacks next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad option. I mean, the first thing I read when I was doing this about the Seahawks is just like, it's already hard because you don't know really who your starter is going to be because it's going to be Geno or Drew Lock.
Mm-hmm.
But then you sit there and you go, it's got to be Geno or Drew Lock. Like that's what you have to go with here.
I'm not out on Drew Lock.
I'm not 100% out on Drew Lock either. I like him. I think he should be the starter,
and he's still he's got an infectious personality. He's fun.
He raps on the sideline. He has a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's got good energy.
He still stinks right now. Yeah. So until proven otherwise, he's bad. And they're bad.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like Pete Carroll wants to start Geno Smith, so that'll be interesting.
Ooh. Dude, I went to a Jets Bills game, and I think it was the one at Ford Field. And Mike Vick was on the Jets at that game. But I remember them talking. EJ Manuel was on the. I think he was in the same class as Geno Smith, right? Geno and EJ Manuel in the same class.
Yeah.
It was funny that Geno was on the Jets at that point and Mike Vick was already just playing for him. I was just like, okay.
Geno Smith is horrible. I don't understand how he's kept a job. Actually, I do know because David Blau and Tim Boyle have jobs. So
I would take Geno Smith over both those guys.
I would 100% take him over both those guys. But
I would probably take Jacob Eason over those guys.
Yes, probably.
But
but Pete Carroll said Geno knows the playbook, so he's got a leg up on.
I can see how that's an advantage. Yeah,
I think Drew Lock's just more fun. So
yeah, I think they might have a short leash on whoever does start though. So
I would think so. It's gonna be a rough year for old Pete in Seattle.
He's the oldest coach in the NFL, and he's got to deal with this now. It's crazy.
Got a complete rebuild.
Time. Yeah,
complete rebuild. I'd just retire, man.
Yeah.
Like
now's the time, man. You lose your
does any college team want me for another 3 or 4 years? Like that's what
Go back to USC. I don't know, man.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we'll do running backs next week, and we'll do the 1991 MLB lineup draft. And I guess in the meantime, we'll try to work on our lineups and finalize those, and hopefully I can get them on Instagram by tomorrow.
Sweet.
All right. We'll see you, man.
See you.